Hey y'all! Welcome back to another episode of Sistas in Crime with Shy and Toy. My name is Latoya, Toy for short.
And my name is Shy, short for Shamia.
And today we're going to be covering, I don't want to say recent, but it hasn't been that long. We're going to be covering the case of David Carter. So this one is coming out of Michigan. I don't know if any of you have seen this case, but it has been covered on a few true crime episodes, such as Unsolved Mysteries, which is on Netflix. That's going to be volume 3, episode 3. The title of the episode is Body in Bags. So we're going to start a little differently with this one. We're going to start out talking about David, and then we just going to jump right into the case from there. So Shami is going to start us off, and as always, let's just see where this journey takes us. Now, disclaimer, um, trigger warning. Some of the information we go over and discuss is going to be very what's the word I'm looking for, intense, graphic information. So this one is a little heavier this week. So if you're not one that can listen to things like that, then you might not want to listen to this episode. You can still like, share, subscribe though, but just, and a lot of things are allegedly. So I want to throw that out there too. Also, for like the millionth time, I have a little sniffle going on. So if you see me, I have a hot toddy right here trying to get this worked out. So just be aware of that. If I'm sniffing into the microphone, I do apologize. I have bad allergies and sinuses, as I've said several times before. Nothing I can do about it. So we're going to let my beautiful sister start us off, and we're going to take it from there.
So y'all, first up, I'm gonna start off just describing David. David was 39. They said he was serious, but very fun and loving. They said he was handsome, and he was definitely handsome, athletic, and they said he took pride in everything he did. He developed a clothing line. It was called Lavish Habits Unlimited Clothing Line, and they did show pictures in the Unsolved Mysteries episode, and the pieces look very nice. I would
They
buy it, like
did.
for
I
my
would
husband.
rock it.
They were hoodies and hats and stuff. I would buy them. Like, it looked
Mm-hmm.
really good. So they just talked about how, and they even had a video and he talked about like how his plans were. He was just very hardworking, and he was ready to like basically like get into his bag and just really just take it to the next level. And I was like, just to see that video, it really just made me so sad. Knowing the events that are to come for him, right? So David had a son very early. His name was David Carter Jr. They didn't name him, and they say he was very, very proud of his son. The moment he was born, I think the mother, David Jr.'s mother, said basically he didn't even look at the baby. He just flew out of the hospital, not well, out of the room, and just said, "I got a boy." I thought that was
Ain't
so
that
sweet.
like typical dad stuff? They
Yeah,
be ready to have a son.
yeah. But on the episode, they talked about how David did have relationships here and there with different women or whatever. So they mentioned a lady named Tammy. Basically, he went to high school with her. So basically, they described Tammy as being very bubbly, and very like outgoing and bubbly. So of course, they don't know what happened after they graduated high school because everybody goes their separate ways and
Yeah.
you know, they didn't keep up with her after high school, which is not uncommon, right? So he shows up at a family gathering, David does, and guess who he has with him? He has Tammy. So his friends and family are kind of taken aback because they was like, what are you doing with her? Like,
Hopper,
you
who
know,
this woman?
yeah. And this was around the dates. This was March 2018, and the family like really, raised eyebrows. They're like, what are you doing? But they were spending a lot of time together. But they said at family gatherings, Tammy used to watch him like a hawk. His interactions with different women or different people, even down to his sister, like it seemed like she was very jealous and very possessive.
Yeah.
So, um, they mentioned, they used to argue and have arguments and fights. And I think one big blow up they had, it was before one of David Jr. DJ, we'll just call him DJ, before one of DJ's games. So they came to the game. Tammy and David came to the game, but they didn't come together. So, of course, David was there to support his son, and Tammy was just there to, I guess she knew he was going to be there. I don't know what the motive was for that. I guess she knew he was going to be there, so she decided to come. So, David Jr., DJ's mother, was, of course, at the game, and she just kind of made eye contact with Tammy. I guess she just turned around and made eye contact. And DJ's mother said that she said she will always remember the look on Tammy's face when they made eye contact. She said she described that woman looked like the little devil when she looked at her. I will never forget that look on her face. Never. Right. So, which brings us to September 2018. DJ was getting ready to go to his dad's house, but he got a text from his dad and said, hey, I'm not feeling well. It's not a good idea for you to come. Basically, he wasn't feeling well. He was scared that it was going to be like contagious and he can get it or whatever. So DJ was like, okay, but DJ ended up going to the apartment anyway because I think he needed some items like a cell phone charger or something like that. So he comes to the apartment where his dad lives and he sees Tammy and she's taking out the trash. So he walked by her. I don't think she said anything to him. I can't remember. I don't think she said anything.
Yeah, he said something to her, but she did not respond to him. She definitely saw him.
Yeah. But it was like they walked right by each other. It's not like she avoided him or anything like that. So she took the trash out, and he said what was so odd, she took the trash out, and she like ran to the apartment, ran to his dad's apartment and locked the door. So he tried to get in the apartment, and she had locked the door. So he thought that was odd because he knew that she saw him, and he was like, why would she lock the door knowing I'm coming to see my dad? And that was suspicious. Right.
Yeah.
So what she didn't know, or she probably knew and didn't think about, he had a key, so he keyed in. So immediately he's, looking around, like he was like, where my dad is? She was like, oh, he's in the room. He's not feeling well. I wouldn't go in there. Don't disturb him or whatever. So, DJ thinks it's suspicious because his dad's room door is closed. He said, and that wasn't typical. And he also said Tammy closed the bathroom door, which was also odd to him. So, after that, I think he ended up leaving, but I think he was just like very confused and very suspicious of Tammy. So, Tori, you want to take off from here?
Yes. So, because David was supposedly sick, DJ ends up going to his grandmother's house. Now, I want to mind you that keep in mind, this is just a regular day for him. He's not thinking anything suspicious. I mean, he's, thinking, she acting a little weird, a little funny, but I think he just didn't want to cause any problems. I know that because I watched his TikTok. Y'all, he's such a sweet little guy. But anyway, so, a couple of days go by and David is not showing up to work. And they said this is not typical character for David. And of course, no calls, no shows. He had a couple work colleagues and things that reached out to the family, specifically David's sister, Tasia. So when they called Tasia, they let her know what was going on, and Tasia ended up calling David's phone. Well, David's phone went straight to voicemail. So when she couldn't reach David, quite naturally, you're going to reach out to the significant other. So then she calls Tammy. And she's like, hey, you seen David? Like, what's up? And Tammy was like, no, I hadn't talked to David since Sunday. Mind you, the last time David was seen was Friday at his son's football game, where him, as Shaw stated, him and Tammy were not they were not sitting together. So, Tammy is like, okay, her and her husband go over to David's apartment. And then when they get there, they notice that when they go to turn the door, the door is unlocked. So the door opens and they're like, that's kind of strange for David because David never left his door unlocked. So at that point, they're like, okay, something seems to be kind of out of whack. So then the sister Tasia calls their daddy Elton. So Elton pull up and then they go enter the apartment and they observe that things look a little bit out of place because David was described as a neat freak. So, they showed on the episode like some sheets or something being balled up and like stuff somewhere. And they go to the bedroom, and when they look under the bed, they see a red stain. And then they pull the comforter back on the mattress and they see a stain on the mattress as well, which they believe to be blood. So David's dad, Elton, he actually was served in the military. So they look in the bed and they see a small hole. And then they also see a small hole in the door of the closet. So he immediately, he's trained military. He knows these bullet holes. Yeah. So he immediately ushers everybody out of the apartment. They contact the Melvindale Police Department and file a missing persons report. So the following, a couple days later, Tasia calls Tammy again. That was the following Tuesday. And she asks, where is David? Tammy doubled down on her lie. And she was like, she hadn't seen him since Sunday. But they noticed it was strange that she did not seem concerned about finding him either. And at this point, they had been dating for 6 months. And if you this crazy and this jealous and this selfish of a person to where you always watching him like a hawk and this, that, and the third, like you going to be out looking for your man, my man, my man, my man. Okay? Because I know I am.
Okay, one other thing I forgot to mention, when David Jr. went over to the house, she actually told him. Now, David texted his son and said, I'm sick.
Yeah.
But when he got to the house talking to Tammy, she said he was out taking a walk. But it was weird because it was very cold outside. He was like, my dad wouldn't take
And then he's sick.
Yeah, and he's sick. Right.
And I don't know about y'all, but if you've never been to Michigan in the fall months, Michigan is very cold. I have family that live in Detroit. Like, it's probably snow on the ground at this point. That man ain't just out taking a walk and he's sick.
Yes.
Okay? Yes. But he thought it was strange. But again, from his point of view, he said it's just another day. He was supposed to go to his grandma's house because his daddy wasn't able to keep him. They were supposed to be staying with either the daddy or the grandma, and they were going to go to school from either one of them house. So, okay, I digress. So we're not blaming this young fellow or whatever because he's not thinking nothing. Mm-hmm. So meanwhile, Tammy continue on with her normal everyday routine. She goes to work. She posting on social media. Yeah. She doing all this, that, and the third. She is not reaching out to the family. At this point, she knows something is awry with David. She knows he's missing. She's not helping the family try to find him or anything, which is immediately suspicious because you are his significant other. So, sis, what's tea? So, in October, ODOT is mowing alongside I-75. And they discover a blue sleeping bag, and they described it was heavy as if it could have, had like a small animal or something inside. So they decide to contact the authorities. The authorities come out, open up the bag, and they say that the officer's like, wait a minute. I need to see this again just to confirm I'm seeing what I'm seeing. So he opens it again, and inside the bag was a lower torso and legs. So they found, to be exact, they found the foot, the legs, and the buttocks. So the lower half of the body. Yeah. Now, at this point, the top half is nowhere in sight. Mm-hmm. So ODOT, then when they get, the remains and everything to the medical examiner at the coroner's office, they realize there's a missing person coming out of Michigan. I think it was, he was in Melvindale, Michigan. So they get a missing persons report. They let them know what they found. And then they indicate that on this, the remains, there is a tattoo on the left upper leg of a pit bull with red eyes. So they reach out to David's father, Elton, and let him know. And then Elton is like, "You found him, didn't you?" Because Elton was aware of this tattoo on his son's leg. Yeah. So and I can't imagine, that's how they identified his son. Like, hey, we found half his body.
Half his body. But I'm gonna tell you, Tammy, I'm gonna tell you David's sister, before they found the bottom half of this body, she called Tammy one more time. She said, yeah, where's my brother? And she was like, same crap. I don't know. I don't know, whatever she said. Sis said, and I said, she on the type of time I would be on. She said,
because I'm telling you.
She said, I'm telling you, if I find out you did something to my brother, you gonna have a problem.
It's go time. It's go time. Yeah. Because one thing you don't do, you do, honey, sisters and brothers. Yes. Let me tell you. Yeah. She and her family used to tease all the time, like, "Oh, you don't like nobody who who David with da da da." Yeah. We be knowing. Yeah. We be knowing. Yeah. Like, yeah. I'm very protective over all my brothers. Yeah. And if anything were to happen to them, like, girl, it's on sight.
It's on sight.
It's on sight.
But see, David's sister, she admitted, she said, I did not like Tammy.
Exactly.
And people told her the same thing. Like, oh, you don't like nobody. She said, that may be true. Yeah. She said, but I definitely don't like Tammy.
Definitely don't like her.
Yeah. And I was like, she on the type of time I am. But you know what?
Exactly.
She was just, had her intuition, and she just knew that this woman, like, just different things. Like, y'all, she would get jealous at a cookout, and he's trying to talk to his child's mother,
yeah,
or his friend, or even his sister. She would get upset, and
the cousin,
yeah,
the cousin. Remember, he went to the movies with the cousin a couple weeks before he disappeared. She got upset, and then he gets home to his apartment complex and sees that somebody flattened all his tires. Mm-hmm. He knew it was her. Mm-hmm. He knew it was her, but it's like, you're psychotic. This is family. What do you think he's doing with his cousin? I guess, and the sister said, I guess she was jealous because he went to the movies with her, with the cousin instead of her. But it's like, you know what I mean? And if me as the sister, I would be like, girl.
But you have a conversation about stuff like that.
Yes.
Like, that's cousin. And I mean, since, like, and the sister, she said that she remembered, and she said that's what she think triggered her to, do what she did. But they believe that David had broke up with her. They had that last bit spat, and David had just broke up with her.
And now that's allegedly. We want to throw that out. This is allegedly.
Yeah. They don't know for sure, but the family just believe he may have broke up with her, and they just really like sent her. The woman is psychotic, y'all.
Exactly.
Yes.
So the last time anybody saw David was at his son's football game on that Friday in September. So as my sister said, Tasia, the sister, she believes that, David broke it off with Tammy that same night. And one of his work colleagues believes the same thing, because they said it was one of them situations where, he was trying to leave, but it was happening slowly. And when you think about it, those on and off again situations, like, I've been there, like, you try to leave, but you have to do it little by little. You can't do it all at once for one reason or another, especially if that person is very toxic or narcissistic. And I know that term is thrown around a lot, but I don't use that loosely. Like, I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. So in this situation, what they ended up doing is on the 5th, they ended up in October, they ended up arresting Tammy. So they did do some intensive interviewing with her, but at the time they did not have enough to make anything stick. And the longest they could hold her was 72 hours. So after 72 hours, she was released, because remember, they only found the lower half of David's body, and there was not a cause of death to be determined, nor was there a murder weapon of any type found. So she was released pending further investigation. Mm-hmm. Now, a couple days later, they found some more remains off I-75 in Ohio. This is south of Findlay. So these remains were found in a black duffel bag, and it was determined to be a human head that was wrapped in small grocery bags. And the handles, it was tied around the neck of the grocery bag. So, I mean, of the head that was found in the grocery bag. And then a few days after that, they found some more remains in a flour suitcase, also off I-75. So whoever this was, they just driving down 75 throwing remains all off the side of the interstate.
Yep.
I drive I-75. I've been on I-75 going to Detroit, which we go once a year. So, from that stretch from Ohio to Detroit, which Wayne, Melvindale, Wayne, Michigan, this is all kind of Detroit area. If you want to know geographically, it's about 95 miles. So they really went on a little mini road trip to toss these remains here, there, and everywhere. Right. So then, inside that flour, it was like a flour suitcase, looked like it could have been for a child. So inside of that, they found the upper torso, 2 arms, 2 hands, and all fingers. So now, at this time, they got the whole body. So they putting it together like a puzzle piece. Unfortunately, I hate to say that. I'm not being insistent, but I'm dead serious. Like, they got the whole body, and they able to put it together now. So when they did that, it was determined that the cause of death was from a gunshot wound that went from below his left earlobe and exited out the top of the right side of his head. In doing so, the medical examiner did not find any defensive wounds or any evidence of struggle or injury anywhere on David's body. Mm-hmm. So if you watch enough true crime, that tells me he was potentially asleep or incapacitated in some way when he was killed. Mm-hmm. So that immediately throws out any defense of, self-defense or anything like that, because if it was self-defense, and you were attacking him in response to something he was doing to you, there would be some sort of defensive wounds, and there were not. Mm-hmm. So they also found in his bloodstream an antihistamine, which makes you kind of sleepy. Mm-hmm. And then they thought, so at this point, when this information is coming out, the family's thinking back, and they're like, wait a minute, a few text messages had been sent out to a few family members from David's phone. But it don't sound like David, because we all text differently. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give you an example of one of the text messages, that were sent out. And this is verbatim. And it sounded kind of crazy to me. I mean, people talk how they talk. But this was just like, that just don't even sound right. So it said, hey, I thought I was over this cold, but I'm sick as hell, throwing up and shit and hot, no voice. And I was like, hot, no voice. That's the part that just, I don't know David personally, didn't know him. And, all this is allegedly, okay? But that just sounded kind of weird to me. I don't know. Mm-hmm. So, in any case, I'm always interested as to how people make that logical jump to from killing somebody to cutting up somebody.
And y'all, I want to emphasize, they were able to determine that this woman just used a regular kitchen knife to chop this meat up. Like, you're really dealing with a psychopath.
Exactly.
Psychopath. Yes.
And that same medical examiner, said that it probably, she probably chopped him up to make him easier to transport or easier to dispose of, because, mind you, David was 6'4", about 190 pounds. Honey, he wasn't nothing, small or nothing like that. And she was smaller than him. She's 5'5". Mm-hmm. So that the medical examiner thinks that, he was chopped up in order to be able to dispose of him. But it takes a special kind of person to cut up a body. But, it really isn't that far-fetched as far as she's concerned, because she's a nurse, kind of worked at the hospital. I think she worked at like Detroit Medical Center, I think is what it was. Yeah, Detroit Medical Center. So she's around blood a lot. So she's not afraid of blood. You know what I mean? But it's just like, it's one thing for you to kill somebody, but I'm always interested in why, which I know that's probably the reason, to dispose.
Yeah,
But
but
how can you stomach cutting up a body?
like you sat there and cut this man, and it with a kitchen knife. Imagine how long that would take getting
Yeah.
through bones and. But I'm gonna tell you, this is a theory I have. It
Hmm.
has not been proven. This is my opinion. My
Yeah.
opinion. I don't think she completed that job by herself.
I don't think so either.
I think someone else is involved. You know what
I
I mean?
think so. What I can see happening, I just had this light bulb moment. Sis, what I can see happening is she went in and shot him,
Yeah.
and then somebody came in and helped her with the cleanup.
Yes, I think so. But they did a sucky job because y'all left a big blood stain, a hole in the wall, a hole in the mattress, and blood in the
Yes.
mattress. Y'all did a sucky job.
And what they did was slid the bed over a little bit to try to cover up the blood stain so it wasn't immediately noticeable. But all you did was lay the comforter out on the mattress to try to cover up the blood stain on the mattress. Y'all like criminology 101. Like y'all need to take criminology for dummies because
Yeah.
a child could have did better at cleaning up that crime scene.
Yeah. And I just when they stated that on the episode, I said because they mentioned that the bed was shifted from where it typically was, but they could see, of course, when your bed has been sitting, you know, in a certain area for a long period of time, there's like impressions in the floor and stuff, and they were, you know, they saw the impressions, and you know, they knew that it was moved, so that's what prompted them to move the bed. But you know, you got to be a psychopath to sit down there and just chop somebody up with like, I couldn't kill nobody. And
Yeah.
I definitely couldn't sit there and not trying to be graphic, y'all, and morbid. I'm really not. But how can you sit there and just chop somebody up like that and then spread someone you supposedly love?
Yeah.
Someone you love. Like,
And it took a lot of time.
yes.
You was dedicated to this. That was
Yes.
planned and
And she
calculated.
planned that crap. Yeah. You didn't just like take an opportunity to do this. No, you planned this out.
That was planned out. And I could see someone helping her with that. I definitely agree
Yeah.
with you on that.
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I guess the I hate to say this, but I guess the good thing about it is that the family had him. They had all his remains because a lot of times when people go missing, the remains may never show up. They may
Yeah.
never turn up. You know what I mean? So they had his remains. They were able to do a memorial for him. And y'all, they said the memorial was packed out. Like they had to have it at an auditorium. And they said people were standing wall to wall. And the daddy, Elton, he's like, I just remember people talking and speaking, the words they were saying about my son. Like he seems like he was very loved,
Yeah.
very much, well, like pillar of his community. I think he was even like a little league coach, that type of deal, only for his life to be taken for something so stupid and vain, like fatal attraction. You know what I mean? Like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get it. He was a ladies' man or whatever, but he did not deserve
To
any of
die.
this.
To die, to be killed,
He
to
did not
be
deserve that.
mutilated like that. Absolutely not.
Like,
And
baby, just leave. And how can you do that as a mother? She got twins.
yes, yes,
She has twins, a daughter and a son. This all took place in 2018, and they were 18 at the time.
yeah,
So now they got to be 23. How
yeah,
what kind of example are you showing for your children?
yep.
You
And
know
they
what I
also
mean?
right, and they also described her like the detectives. Of course, they interviewed her family and friends, and they said she was the type of girl who like kind of fell in love fast. She was one of those people who always needed a man and different stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that paints a picture like
Yeah.
that.
But see,
And
that's why I mentioned narcissistic because I listened to this counselor and, she said that her clients, the majority of them that come to her who have just gotten out of relationships with narcissistic partners, they're always like, breakups are hard in any regard. But the main reason that they stay is that they don't want them to leave and then change or be better for someone else. And the counselor's like, why would you think they would do that?
Mm-hmm.
Because a narcissist is going to be who they are. If they didn't change for you, she's like, they're probably not going to change for the next person. And it's best that you go ahead and send them a condolences card now, because the same issues you are dealing with, that next person is dealing with. But what was even more interesting is she said that's why you see these people jump from relationship to relationship. You can break up on a Friday and they have a new person by Sunday, because
Yeah.
the relationships are all superficial.
Yeah.
And that's what flashed back in my mind with this situation, because everybody said she was the type had to have a man.
Yeah.
Like she jumped from, man to man like it was nobody business. So I like that just came into perspective for me, because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. Because normal people, if this is a relationship that you're invested in, it's going to take you a little time. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been one to be able to, if I'm seriously in a serious relationship with someone like they were,
Yeah.
I never been the type to just jump on. Like
Yeah.
I have to process.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And they don't, like, because it's so superficial. And I feel like that's like she's giving those type vibes.
Yes. Yeah.
So she probably got another man somewhere else, and I pray to God she ain't about to kill him too, girl.
But see, like y'all, so like she, after all of this, she vanishes
Yeah.
of the city. And that was concerning because I think at that point they were ready to arrest her. I think they were ready to arrest
Yep.
her again, and she got out of Dodge. They saw her, I think, in Michigan. They said I think it was Michigan. It was
Ann
a
Arbor.
yeah, but they saw her on camera. She was enjoying her some dinner or lunch. I don't know what it was. They said she was sitting there alone, just looking around,
Mm-hmm.
and she had a couple drinks. They said not that she was congregating with anybody, but she was just by herself, just living it up. They said they know she um, made a lot of transactions, very large transactions with money, like out of the bank, and
Mm-hmm.
she took off. And I think the next location they spotted her was New York.
But
She
got on the train and went to Chicago
yeah.
and then New York.
Then New York. So they saw her check in because they were able to track her credit card records, I believe. And she used her
Mm-hmm.
name to get a hotel. It was the Neptune Hotel or something like that. And
Yep.
they saw her, she checked in. But after that, she was nowhere to be found. She's just like vanished. And
Yep.
her sister, it was kind of funny. Her sister said, when you look back at her Facebook, and y'all, I just wanted to let y'all know her Facebook is still up, and so is his. And I went on her Facebook, and her sister even said that. She said she's like a master of disguise. She wears different hairstyles, so she could have short hair one day, she could have long hair, she could have blonde hair, she could have braids, like just back and forth.
Yeah.
And she was like, she could have changed her appearance. And the detectives, that's what they were saying. They was like, it is so disturbing to think about. She could be in a relationship with a man and she could snap, and they could be in the same situation that David did, like with David.
Right.
Like,
Right.
or this woman could be working because she worked in the hospital. This woman could be at a hospital taking your blood and you don't even know it. You
And
know,
she was also a travel agent.
she was a travel agent. She could have booked your
Yeah.
trip, and you don't
You
even
don't
know.
know.
And that's what's
But
disturbing.
I'ma know.
Yeah.
You better
I
not
remember
pop
her
up
making
in
a
South
face.
Carolina because I'm on your ass.
But you know what, though? I thought about it. I said, could she be in South Carolina? I said, for some reason, people, like celebrities, come here and hide.
They
Uh,
do.
I was like, could she be here?
That's what I thought. I said, what if I'm just out and about in my regular life and I see her? Girl, I'm calling it in and
I'm
I'm
calling the
collecting that
cops.
reward money.
Like, because they said she has a large, like, rose tattoo on her left shoulder. They said it is huge. And I
From
saw
here to
a
here.
picture of it. Yeah, it's like her whole arm. Not like the bottom half, but like the shoulder down to like her elbow.
Yeah.
And it was like, think about it. If a tattoo artist like hid it for, kind of developed it into something else, like a tattoo artist saw this,
Yeah.
or if she's covering it up, I mean, anything. It could be anything, y'all. But
That's sad because
yeah,
somebody knows something.
I feel like her family, allegedly, this is
Allegedly.
in my opinion,
You are always innocent
yeah,
until proven guilty.
yes,
So, this is all allegedly.
alleged. But I think her family's helping her because the detectives, last time they spoke to them, it was like, we haven't heard from her, we haven't seen her. And I was like, I do not believe that. This woman cannot stay missing without the assistance of somebody. She's
Yeah.
getting help, with money. I know that with money. I mean, I don't know that, but my suspicions with money and hiding out, she's living with someone. She has to
Yeah.
take shelter somewhere.
Either, and they were saying that either, someone is sending her money, or she has obtained employment under another alias or
Yeah.
under another name. But they still suspect that she's still in the United States, because the U.S. Marshals are now investigating. They still suspect that she's in the United States. They didn't say specifically why they believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all, I just want you to keep in mind, because they never found a murder weapon, they consider her as armed and dangerous, because they believe she still has the murder weapon on her, which would be some type of gun.
Yeah.
But if you see, be on the lookout. She's, like I said, she's 5'5". They think now, when she, at the time, when this happened, she was 190 pounds. They believe she can be anywhere between 180 to 200 pounds. 42 years old. She may be 43 by now, because when this episode aired, I think it was 2022. So she's 42 or 43.
Yeah.
And like Sha said, she has a rose tattoo on her left shoulder. Starts at the shoulder, goes down to about the elbow. And it's like a bouquet of a bunch of roses. It was real cute though. I'm not gonna say that. It was
I
cute.
didn't like it.
You didn't?
No, because I don't
I
like
thought
her.
it was cute. I don't like her either, but the
I don't
tattoo,
like
I was like, okay, tattoo given.
It
But
wasn't.
yeah, there is a $10,000 reward for any information that leads to her capture.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, I'm hopeful and prayerful that she is found soon, because ever since this episode aired, Unsolved Mysteries, the producers over at Unsolved Mysteries have received several tips. Like last I checked, it was over 90. That was, as that they said that as of 2022.
Right.
It might have been many more by now, but she is definitely having help somewhere. Please be on the lookout for her. If you see her,
Mm-hmm.
you can call in an anonymous tip. You can call Unsolved Mysteries. You can go online. You can call the U.S. Marshals. I don't have their number, but if I remember to do it, I'll put their number below. But we need to get that woman off the streets, because, like they said, she always has to have a man. No man is safe. Okay.
Yep. And y'all, you can actually go on unsolved.com, I believe, and I think you can do something there. But I
Mm-hmm.
think the saddest thing, in addition to David being murdered, his mom really took it hard. And
Yeah.
her sister said, I feel like Tammy killed two people because they found out, I can't remember if it was a couple days before he got murdered or after. They
6 days before.
yeah, they found out she had cancer, and she's going through that too. And she was like, she refused cancer treatment and stuff, and she ended up passing away. She was so like overcome with grief.
Heartbroken.
I can't imagine what that family went through, like, and all of that, and for him to die in such a tragic way like that. And then, but she said, I feel like she killed two people, like my mom
Yeah.
and my
And
brother.
him.
Yeah, and it's just so sad. But I pray to God that she's found one day.
But you know what? Did you notice that in a lot of the photos they showed, there's another sibling?
Mm-mm.
There's another brother. And I don't know why he's not mentioned, or why he doesn't make an appearance, whatever the case may be. But
Right.
yeah, there's another brother. And y'all, David fine, okay? R.I.P.
Yeah.
That man was fine. But also, not only that, I be on these folks' personal pages and stuff. Not only that, but Tasia, I was on her TikTok earlier today. Tasia said that Tammy's mama is in jail, and she's in jail for embezzling money from the fire department, girl. Like, so the whole family just
Embezzle.
she stole money from the fire department.
Did she work for them or something?
I don't know. I don't know, because I was like, I had got off work and I was going in the Hobby Lobby. I've been there about 2-3 times this week. Getting fall decor. So she said, she said she's in jail herself for stealing money from the fire department. But I'm like, girl, how you steal money from the fire department? Like, if they ain't got no money, how they gonna put out fires, girl?
Girl, and I wonder how much time you can get for that.
I don't know, but the mama locked up, so the mama can't be helping her. Yeah. So I don't know who's helping her. Oh, y'all, off subject. My shirt, I'm very proud of this, okay? I bought this shirt specifically for this recording because I was on TikTok and I saw this girl had this shirt on in black and white, and I immediately went to Amazon and I had to have it. So this is just like a motivational moment because I know life be lifing. Yeah. Life is lifing for me right now. This week has been crazy with my, sinuses and stuff like that. Ain't nothing serious going on. Don't worry about me. It's just, school, personal, work-life balance. But it says know your worth, then add tax.
Hey.
You know what I'm talking about? Know your worth, then add tax.
I might have to get that. I love it.
I saw that. I saw this lady had it on TikTok. I flew over to Amazon. I was like, you know what? I need a little Amazon order anyway because I ordered some lashes and stuff. Let me get this shirt. And I wanted y'all to see the same thing, honey, because I always know your worth and then add tax. Oh, David knew his worth because he was on his way out from Tammy and she killed my boy.
Yeah. But I mean, just y'all gotta watch that Unsolved Mysteries episode because to see him so hyped and like his future plans, like what he wanted to do with his clothing line and stuff, like I love to see people because he had a light in him, and
Go ahead.
Oh, like he had a light in him, y'all, and like just to see her being that young to where you want to take his life and then mutilate him like that, girl. I hope she is found and quickly. I don't know who's hiding her, but I have seen cases where people have, done like crimes like this, and they might get away with it for years, but then something happens and they get caught. They might be living a whole nother life with kids and spouse and stuff, and something happens and they end up getting caught. But I am faithful. I am hopeful.
Her day is coming.
Her day is coming. They are going to find her.
Because with all of this rolling out is making it harder and harder for her to hide. Yeah. Now, what I said real quick for us, because I wanted to find his sister's TikTok. I don't know if y'all probably can't see that. Yeah. But her TikTok is Lil OT. That's LIL_OLE_T. And when I tell you this baby has been keeping her brother's memory alive. He has a video on here when, Sha mentioned about his business and him having so much for his future. He has a video on here, which is kind of like a message to business owners. And they ask him, if he has any recommendations, whatever the case may be. And I thought it was, it even still applies to this day because it was only 5 years ago. So it very much still applies. Please support that family any way you can. Pray for them, whatever you can do. If you want to follow them, they're on TikTok. Like I said, I follow his sister and his son just to support. The son is still running the clothing line. You can support that as well. Very cute pieces. I may order something myself. Yes. But if y'all see that lady, please call. Please, email, do something. Because I'm telling, if I see you anywhere over here in South Carolina, it's a wrap. I don't even care about the money. I can use it.
But I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna call the police. I'm gonna call on you. I'm gonna follow her until the cops get there.
Yeah, I wouldn't approach her because, like I said, they consider her armed and dangerous because they believe she still has that weapon. Yeah. But I would follow her until the cops arrive. Right. Okay. Right. So, before we switch gears? Yeah. Did you have anything else to say on this?
No, I don't, y'all. But I'm with Toya. Like, support that family, get the story out here. I think the best thing they could have done was put it on Unsolved Mysteries, because the moment I saw it, I went on the Facebook and I shared, like I made a post about it. People shared it. Like, we just need to, get the story out there so we can find this woman. Like, she cannot get away with this,
And get her off the streets, because
and
ain't
get her
nobody
off the
safe.
street. This family has been through so much, and as a community, I feel like we need to get the story out. I mean, it's already out, but keep it running. Don't let the story die down, because we need to find this